Alpine Liquid Fertilizers is your full season crop fertility specialist from start to finish. Visit alpinepfl.com for more.
This week in Saskatoon, it was a very busy week. The weather was beautiful, but there was a lot of activity indoors as well, really across the city. Joining us right now is Executive Director with SaskOilseeds. It is Tracy Broughton. Hey, Tracy, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, now, before we get into some of your big news and some of the things SaskOilseeds has going on branding-wise, how was Crops Forum this week?
It was really great. We had about 300 farmers and industry government folks that were able to join us for our Crops Forum, where we had our AGMs, annual meetings for Sask wheat, Sask barley, Sask pulse growers, and Sask oilseeds. We also had some speakers going on.
Yeah,
Um,
I had fun on the
some,
stage. I did one of the panels, and we talked about
right.
research, and we had a good laugh with it because it was the end of the last session of Tuesday, and I was joking about how the last session of the day we got to hang on to this crowd talking about research, and it was awesome. People were like so attentive and asked some great questions from the audience. We went for like an hour and a half. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you had some really great people on the panel there. Angela Bedard-Hahn from the University of Saskatchewan, Bill Gruhl, our new deputy minister, and Steve Webb from the Global Institute for Food Security. So some pretty heavy hitters when it comes to, carrying out research and being a part of the funding and the strategies. It was really great. We also had Rick Hillier. He kicked it off,
Yeah.
General Rick Hillier, and talked about leadership and how important it is for everyone to be leaders, not just, our maybe lack of leadership that we have in some areas going on right now in the world. But that was some really good takeaways for everyone in the room. And Political times right now, so we had to end it off with Curse of Politics
That was
on
cool. That was really
Wednesday. Yeah.
cool. My personal opinion, I'll give you my feedback while we're on the air, is I thought it was great to kind of get back to, if some people remember, some of the audience remember CropSphere, and this kind
hmm
of, it felt like kind of moved back towards that. I thought it was an exceptional meeting.
Yeah, so we used to have CropSphere where we had several breakout sessions. We covered off like research and agronomy, markets, and sort of those high level policy discussions. This time we decided to keep it really simple, keep everybody in in the same room instead of having breakout sessions. And I think it made it easier for the audience. We had fewer sessions, but maybe some more all-inclusive discussions and lots of networking, which is, I
Yeah.
think, the biggest thing that everybody was missing. Like last year, were able to get through all of our AGMs in one day and made it very simple for those who are interested in the goings on of the crop commissions, but not a lot of time for networking. And that's where we all learn from each other, right?
Tracy, all of the AGMs in one day, back to back to back. That's a lot of Robert's rules.
Yes, it is. Yes. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it was, and then Boomtown. So if like, and for somebody that's not from Saskatoon, I think that was really cool. The reception at the end of the first day was at Boomtown, it was at the museum right beside Prairie Land Park there. Really cool. That is a neat
hmm
spot.
Yeah, the history of Saskatchewan agriculture. So we're
Yeah.
talking about, the problems of today and how to solve them tomorrow. And also, you can look at the history of what our province has been through over the years, and it's really focused on ag.
Yeah, for sure. So big announcement, and there's a couple this week out of Sask Oilseeds, and one of them was the release of the new club route map for Saskatchewan. So encourage everybody. Did an interview on that. Go to realagriculture.com. But the other announcement is a little bit more broader in context. It was some branding that's been going on with Sask Oilseeds. Of course, new name for a new combined organization. So maybe give us a bit of a history there, and then we can talk about some of the branding going outwards.
So the way that our organizations are all set up, with the exception of Saskatchewan Pulse Growers, most of our organizations are set up by crop type. So we had SaskCanola, which I'm sure that everyone's familiar with, and SaskFlax. Um, the Over the years, the organizations have become more mature, and as a result, we are doing a lot of the same things. We work together on a lot of things. Um, the flax industry has taken a bit of a hit with the drought, and there haven't been a lot of new varieties coming through for farmers to access. And so a lot of their budget was being taken up by administration and operations of the organization proper. And so a couple of years ago, their ED had moved on, and our board of directors instructed me to reach out and ask if they would be interested in some sort of, new approach to how we do business. So we operated with one staff and two boards for a couple of years, and in that time explored what amalgamation would look like. We went through all the process, as you mentioned, a lot of Robert's rules and governance, and so there was some process that we had to get through our AGMs and resolution and consultation with our members. And as of August 1st, we've been calling ourselves the Saskatchewan Oilseed Development Commission, or Sask Oilseeds. And that gave us some time to update some of our marketing. So we now have a brand for both organizations, and we launched that as of January 15th with our annual report. And our AGM, we were able to present the final set of financials for SaskCanola and SaskFlax.
Now, there isn't a lot of soybeans in the province of Saskatchewan, but they're over at SaskPulse, right?
They are, yeah. The way that our province defines it is more from a botanical standpoint rather than end use.
Well, you steal those over to your side.
Well, let's talk to the farmers about that.
Carl may have something to say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Carl. Okay, so now you got to we're doing this via Zoom, and you got a T-shirt on that's showing some of the branding. So talk about kind of what you announced this week.
Yeah. So in the past, the SaskCanola brand and the SaskFlax brand really focused on the flowers of each of the crops. I think that's what everybody thinks of when they think of those two crops visually.
Yeah.
And it would have been really busy to start adding in a bunch of flowers, and we thought we want to keep it really simple, and we don't want our logo to be our brand. So we talked with a marketing agency here locally in Saskatoon, and they came up with an icon that it represents what we do, which is invest in research. It signifies a seedling, because we're about crop research, a book, which is about knowledge and research. And then we also included an oil drop for the flax and canola. It could also be viewed as like a seed as well. And it's encased in the province of Saskatchewan because we are provincial.
Yeah. And what was some of the reaction? Did you unveil it then at Crops Forum?
Yeah, I think we had quite a bit of positive reaction. One of the things that we have also changed is we went away from, having blue or purple and yellow in our logos. Our colors are green and like a neutral color, but that's because we want something that will look really nice when we're showing the photos of the flax fields and the canola fields. And so that was really on purpose. It isn't it's a nod. It's allowing us to have a really good nod to both of those crops, because that's what we all think of as those beautiful fields of canola and flax.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, as you in the summertime, if you time it right, and you're flying into Saskatoon, and on the approach, you look out the window and you see the beautiful colors. It's really flax and canola that provide that contrast to the green of most of the other crops that we're growing. It's that yellow that just shines so bright, and the flax fields are they provide that nice contrast too. It's really kind of it's interesting that both those two beautiful flowered crops are under one banner at Sask Oilseeds.
Yeah, it's giving us a bit of an opportunity. Like there's efficiencies that are gained with respect to like policy and things like that, and even just on the research side, there are efficiencies to be gained. But then we're also able to expand. Like, we haven't talked a lot about breeding efforts in canola because that's all carried out in the private sector. Any of the research that we invest in would be more like a pre-breeding, like very early stages. So it's a good opportunity for our staff and our board to get exposed to the variety development side of things as well. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, we've got about a minute left here for talking to all the different growers this week. What feels like kind of the sentiment here for 2025 for the crop year?
Well, I think lots of people were talking about some of the, changes that we're going to see in the political landscape,
Yeah.
what the US tariffs, if they come through, what that's going to look like. Lots of guessing around that. And then our own federal government here in Canada. So I feel like there wasn't a lot of discussion other than, what the impacts of some announcements in the US would have had on the canola markets. People they're not quite ready to talk about, or they weren't at the Western Development Museum, they weren't
Yeah.
talking about the field season quite yet.
That
But
Bungie
that'll
Fight
be,
Terra merger too. There's
yes.
that.
Yeah, that's something that I think there were a lot of things we were guessing on for, several months. And now, even though the government is not operating right now. They were able to bring forward a decision on the Bungie Viterra merger. So
Did
one of
Sask
the
Oilseed have a position on that merger?
no,
No.
we didn't have a position on that merger, specifically because there were so many things up in the air. We did give feedback to the Competition Bureau directly, and we had farmers able to provide feedback on their individual, like, trucking situations, delivery options, and how it might impact things. But we leave a lot of that forward-looking advocacy efforts for national or federal government to our national organizations to kind of take the lead on.
Great. We've been talking to the executive director with Sask Oilseeds, based out of Saskatoon, is Tracy Broughton. Tracy, thanks so much for joining us here today on Real Ag on the Weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me.